Men and women, welcome to CJ Unplugged. I apologize for the duration of this episode in advance. It has not been my day today, let me tell you. I got to the studio an hour ago. No, an hour and 15 minutes ago. I reserved 2 hours because I always do that in case for moments like these. And I'm alone. I do not have anybody with me today. My producer, audio guy, whatever you like to call them. Person behind the electronics, technician, is not here today. So I'm alone. I'm by myself. And today we were actually supposed to have a special guest, my first guest of the show, but it did not work. It fell through. So it's just me again. Solo episode, as always. Eventually we are going to get guests on. Like I said, I have some in the works right now of some pretty cool people with cool jobs that I'd like to interview. But maybe next week, a few more episodes. Still working on the details, getting it set up and scheduled. But today's not been my day, let me tell you. It's been a pretty rough day. I got here an hour and 15 minutes ago and attempted to set this up by myself. I don't know what I'm doing. It's MacBook with GarageBand, and I'm a Windows person, so I got here and tried to figure out the entire mixer, soundboard, audio, microphone, headphones, everything, and it sounded super echoey. There was some sort of reverb or echo going on, and for the life of me, I tried using different microphones, tried using different headsets. I tried muting all the mics, resetting it, everything. An hour and 15 minutes worth of work. Could not figure it out. I finally thought I figured out with this microphone over here because this is the only one that sounded clear and I could hear it through the headphones. I hit record. I went over to the thing to test it and it still sounded reverby. If that's even reverby, I don't know if that's a word. I don't even have anyone to look at. I'm by myself, okay? This is it. But eventually I figured out the whole time, an hour and 15 minutes took me to figure out that it was just the headphones. So when I was playing the audio that was recording through the microphone, the reason it sounded weird was not because of the mic or the mixer or anything. It was because of the headphones. The headphones, still haven't figured that out, by the way. Something's wrong with the headphones. So that was an hour of time wasted just to figure out it wasn't even the microphone. I could have been doing this whole time. But yeah, I apologize for the duration of this episode. It's going to be a shorter one. Still have things I want to talk about for fun. So like I said, I was supposed to have a guest on today, but they didn't fall through. And then my sound guy is actually fleeing from the federal government right now because he's on his third strike of identity theft. So he's running away from America. He just left America a few days ago. So I do not have a sound guy anymore. I don't know who I'm going to find. I clearly can't do it myself, but we might have to keep doing it myself. This is a solo journey. This is self-produced. Everything I do behind this podcast is me. Believe it or not, I edit it. I make the graphics. I record it. It's tough. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work out here, chasing the dreams. But still going to do it anyways. Nothing's going to stop me. Right now, downtown in Spokane, we have something called Pig Out in the Park, which I'm sure none of you have heard of. 99% of you have not heard of if you're watching this, unless you're in Spokane. Spokane's the only people who know about it. Maybe they have it different versions in other areas, but it's a little thing we have here where it's very suiting. You just go be a pig in the park. They just fatten you up and then slaughter you. It's just poison anyways. They just feed you poison. I mean, they're all food trucks and cotton candy stands and ice cream. I went one year. It's pretty fun. Everything's expensive though. Even like a corn dog's $8, so it's not really worth it. But you know, I had to dodge a bunch of passengers on the way here because the studio is downtown in Spokane, and it's actually right behind me. If I open up this window, you could just see a bunch of obese people running from stand to stand. I say that like I'm not going to go out there and check it out right after this, but who knows? Maybe they're card only. Cash is like non-existent anymore. I worked at Froyo in the arena, and we didn't accept cash. Like, we're just getting rid of cash one step at a time. Everyone made the excuse, oh, it's because of COVID, right? It's because of COVID. And then COVID went away, and still cash is not allowed at most places. Like, there's been a few places I've been to. I know the arena is one of them, but a lot of venues. It's mainly venues, like for like concerts and other events, maybe some comedy clubs. I'm not quite sure, but a lot of venues that host events and arenas and stuff like that are all going completely cashless. I thought cash was king. I thought cash talked, but apparently not. And I love how they say no contact. The last 10 times I've done no contact with my phone or my debit card, it asks for my PIN. What's the point of no contact if I'm pressing my PIN with my fingers? Or like when you put some of them, the chip can be like inches away from the thing. Most of the time I'm slamming it like 8 or 6 times, just slapping this machine with my card. That doesn't seem like no contact to me. That seems like a lot of contact. So I think that's ridiculous. Maybe we need to buy better chips from China. Speaking of China, the world is still ending. I don't have any news on that, but the war's still going on everywhere. There's just literally a war everywhere. I think Switzerland's fighting over some cheese right now somewhere. I don't know. Canada just got in a war with China because they started running out of maple syrup, and they were exporting a lot of maple syrup to China, and the China people got addicted to the maple syrup, and so there's now a maple syrup war between Canada and China. It's true. Don't look it up. It just happened today. It's real. But yeah, the wars are still going on in Ukraine and Russia. Haven't heard much about that one. That's like the little brother. The big brother now is Israel, Palestine, and Middle East. And now Ukraine, that one's like little brother. Even though we're giving them all the money. Giving Israel money too, don't be wrong. But we're giving Ukraine more money. But they took a back seat. Tough luck. That's what happens when there's a new war. Every time something happens, Trump gets shot, Israel, Palestine, somebody dies, something happens, and the next news story, it gets pushed. It's gone. We're on to something new every single day. And everyone's just always mad. Like it's just civil unrest, truly. Everyone's always mad. I believe the liberals are just mad at everything. Like they literally can never catch a break about anything. They're always mad about something, right? And don't get me wrong, conservatives get angry too. Conservatives and liberals, it's human nature to just get mad at things, right? But I think conservatives, they can tolerate things. Like they just, maybe not tolerate's the right word. Yeah, tolerate. They just tolerate things. You know, it's not going their way. They hate it, but they tolerate it. They just let it happen. Maybe that's not a good thing. Maybe they should fight it. But liberals, man, they won't let anything slide. Like they're always mad. It just seems like they're pro everything. And other countries, like, you know, the border and DEI and like fairness and equal opportunity and all that stuff, pro everything except for America. I'm not hearing a lot of proud American chants from the liberals. I don't know if they actually want America to succeed or just fall over and flip upside down on its head and just completely change America as we know it, which I think is their goal, right? Because conservatives are more like traditional American values and whatnot. Liberals are like, no, change it all up. Don't even call it America anymore. It's racist for some reason, and we're going to make this entire country something different. Like if China, like I always thought back, I wasn't even alive in the 80s, but like old liberals and Democrats or old Democrats and Republicans, we all wanted what's best for America, right? We just went different ways about it. We just had different policies, different views. 40 years ago, we got along. We agreed America's the best country, but we just wanted different things. Now it's like conservatism is like pro-America, American flag, like raw, freedom. And then the liberals are kind of like, nah, like that's not cool anymore. Let's turn this country around. Let's just give it to Mexico and Canada. Let's just split in half. The top of us will go to Canada and the bottom half of us will go to Mexico. At that point, that's what it feels like. If China, who we all at one point didn't like China, not the Chinese people, it's the government, CCP, communists, right? Not good, right? China isn't great, the government. But we all used to agree on that, right? A while ago, let's just say I'm going on a rant, but a while ago, we all did not like China. But at this point, if China nuked us, if we got in a war with China and China dropped a nuke in the United States on Chicago and New York and LA and millions of people died, I think the next day the liberals would get online, go on Twitter or X, whatever it's called now, if they're even on that anymore. Probably not, right? TikTok's Chinese, probably go on TikTok, whatever app they use now. They're going to go on there and going to say, hey, I know this isn't great. Okay, the nuke, not great. Boo. But to be inclusive, I think in light of current events with China, we should only eat from Panda Express and watch Crazy Rich Asians. We need to support them at this time. And you're thinking, they just nuked us. No, but the liberals are going to be like, we need to spend more money on small Chinese businesses right now in these times because China's a victim. I do have another personal fun story to tell. I want to tell more fun personal stories. I was not in a great mood today. I apologize. I don't know what kind of rant that was, to be honest. But yeah, today hasn't been great just because of this whole podcast situation. It was very frustrating. I'm not a smart guy when it comes to technology. But personal stories. This week was insane. This has been a very strange week for me. Very strange past few days. I went to the comedy club Tuesday night, as I do. Find me there on a Tuesday, Wednesday night regularly. Sometimes I don't make it, but I went there to sign up, to get on, do some little stand-up. And I'm sitting in my car, my truck, and I'm practicing my set. I'm rehearsing my jokes. And I look up, and I can't help but notice my most recent ex and her group of friends walking towards their vehicle as I prayed a silent prayer that they were not entering the comedy club. But the Lord did not hear me that day because they put their purse in firearms, and whatever else they were carrying in their car. And then they walked towards the door of the comedy club. And my heart fell out of my chest. And I panicked. Called Code Red, called my best friend. And I decided that was not going to stop me. You know what? I'm going to chase my dreams. I want to become a comedian, tell jokes, try to get better, try to practice. And it's not going to stop me. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to bomb for 3 straight minutes in front of her. I ended up going in and seeing her and her friends and saying hi. And it was crazy. It was weird. It's been a weird day. Doesn't feel real. Also ended up not getting on even. I signed up, didn't even get on. So maybe it was a blessing. I was telling people there like, hey, it's my ex over there. Which I was going to make jokes about her, by the way. I started preparing. I'm like, all right. Threw the old set away. And I said, we got to work with something new now. Because this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Literally. So I thought of some new jokes. I was going to do a little bit of roasting and inclusion with her. Some crowd work maybe. And didn't even get on. So maybe it's a good thing. Still think the Lord was maybe protecting me that day. But yeah, overall, it went okay, I think. It's just weird. Weird week for me. And for those of you who are curious about why we broke up and what happened there, it is very personal. I'm not going to get too into it, but one day we were having issues and she decided to research how to make fertilizer bombs, and she made multiple fertilizer bombs and then threatened my family. It was all because I used the last $20 of her Chick-fil-A gift card. So very tragic day. Luckily, none of the fertilizer bombs went off. My family was okay, but that drew the line somewhere for me a little bit, and we ended things off that. So still got the Chick-fil-A, though. It's delicious. She's not getting that $20 back either. For my one and only story today, since I'm wrapping up, I only got a little bit of time left before they boot me out of here. We have in Ohio, of course, Ohio. Ohio's the new Florida. Remember Florida, man? It's Ohio now, by the way. Marijuana sellers can't give out food from ice cream truck. Now, is this a marijuana ice cream truck or a regular ice cream truck or an edible truck? What is happening here? It seems pretty logical to me, right? You can't give out marijuana from, it seems pretty logical to me. You can't give out ice cream or food from a marijuana truck or vice versa. That seems kind of like a legal issue. Handing out food and drinks from an ice cream truck is off limits for marijuana businesses in Ohio, according to state regulators. Well, it's not a ice cream truck if it's a marijuana business. Why don't we just call it a marijuana truck? Ohio's Division of Cannabis Control has proposed fines totaling $212,000 against 5 businesses for violating the state's advertising rules for marijuana sellers. Most of the fines involved promotions this summer ahead of this August 6th beginning for recreational marijuana sales in the state. Some of the violations involved using signs that were too large or not approved by the state. This is ridiculous. This is why too much government is bad. You hear this, liberals? Too much government is bad because the more rules, the more dumb it is. Why can't we have larger signs and certain advertisements? Apparently this one says an online promotion saying, "Can you take me higher?" was one that was flagged. Can you take me higher? If it's offensive or something, like, yeah, if it's got a racial slur in there, maybe we don't use that one. Maybe we can that one. But why are we having rules on the size and wording of these unless they're offensive or something? Why can't I have just a big white sign saying selling marijuana in Ohio? There's probably plenty of those here in Spokane. The government's just getting out of control. They're just trying to tax us and fine us on everything. $212,000. I mean, that's not much considering what's going on with Ukraine. But that's still a lot of money to be collecting off just small fines here and there. And we know it's not going to anything good. Those roads are still going to suck. And people are still going to be paid minimum wage. I don't know where that money is going to go. Probably for the officers to go buy weed later and smoke them while they're off. Who knows? The largest proposed fine, $150,000, was issued to a Greenleaf Apothecaries, which operates in dispensaries in Akron, Canton, Cleveland, Columbus, and Wickliffe. State regulators said the violators were related to giving out food and beverages from the ice cream truck, advertising free ice cream on social media, and using a sign that was not attached to the dispensary. Now, that's just genius marketing. That sounds like a great bait. Free ice cream, right? You're 21 or older, hopefully. I mean, there's probably a lot of kids that saw this. Maybe that's the issue here. Now I'm starting to understand. If you have a weed truck or you're selling weed or any sort of drug and you advertise free ice cream, do you think you're going to be attracting more middle-aged men or children? I'm going to guess children, but in Ohio, I might be wrong. So I do understand the problem here. Maybe they could change the sign and just put like free ice cream with like the weed leaf in the background. I don't know. They got to specify somehow that they're also selling weed. I got to say though, like that is kind of genius to be advertising that you're giving out something free, like free lemonade, free ice cream, free cookies, free candy, The only problem with that is you're going to be attracting children. That's not a great look, right? If you're selling drugs or alcohol and your sign is like free peanut M&Ms, I don't know how well that would do. You know, I don't think we're going to get a whole lot of adults who are stoners coming up being like, I mean, maybe when you're high, you just crave peanut M&Ms. I'm sure it would be a very beautiful mix of all sorts of people, young and old. Unless you specify that it's also a weed van, you're probably going to get a lot of children, which is not a good look. I guess you could call it, instead of Dippin' Dots, like P Diddy Dots. P Diddy Ice. Ooh, this one's not great. Epstein Ice Cream, because it attracts kids. Maybe we cut that one out. What other personal stuff can I share? I'm going to my uncle's cabin this weekend. Going to do some jet skiing and boating and tubing and four-wheeling and dirt biking and all that fun stuff. Grilling. Just hanging out. Enjoying the last days of summer. This is the last weekend. It's August 29th as this records. It'll be the 30th tomorrow. And here comes September. So you have school this week. I'm sorry. That sucks. Wouldn't know how that feels. But I don't. So I'm going to enjoy my life like I have been the last year without school. I should like put one of those polls or questions on Instagram to see what you guys want me to talk about. Or I should do one where it's just a bunch of personal stories. I do have a lot. I just don't know if they're that entertaining or funny. Well, maybe they're entertaining. They're just not that funny. I've almost been killed, almost been kidnapped, almost been arrested multiple times, been detained. My buddies and I used to explore abandoned buildings and whatnot, so that was fun. Tell those stories. We just have a whole episode about exploring abandoned, creepy places. I think that's all I have for today, honestly. I'm not in the best mood. Probably going to physically assault that MacBook and then just torture this microphone or something. Check in next week for more fun stories. Follow me on Instagram at cadenkaiserman. That is at CADENKAISERMAN. There I'll be posting all sorts of updates for shows and whatever else I have going on. I also have my link tree for my TikTok, my YouTube, Spotify, all the good things. Stay looking out for new things coming. It's been a busy summer, not going to lie. I've been a busy man. But I do have some things in the works. I'm looking forward to doing interviews and having guests on the pod. You salute you, China. Good night.